Hello everyone, I am so happy to see you. According to YouTube Analytics, over 70% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. If you guys want Pugsley to eat this month, I suggest you do so. Enjoy the video guys, love you forever and always.
Hello everyone. A lot of you guys have been asking me to make a new Gnar guide, so here is an updated version for Season 12. I will be going over the items, runes, abilities, combos, and macro for Gnar. I hope you guys enjoy. Hello everyone. So this is the items section of the Gnar guide video. So as for items, not a lot has changed for Gnar. For the past half year, Gnar has pretty much been building the same items. So as you can see right here on my build right now, these are the basic items that you will always build on Gnar. So I will go over the core items for Gnar. His best items right now are Divine, Starax, and Black Cleaver. Divine is Gnar's best mythic item because it is pretty much a better version of Black Cleaver. You get health, damage, ability haste, and a Sheen type attack. Also, its mythic passive is very good for shredding through tanks and even squishy targets. All of that on top of the heal it gives is what makes it Gnar's best mythic item. Gnar's best non-mythic items are Starax Gauge and Black Cleaver. Starax Gauge is so good because in the middle of a team fight you can get a shield all the way up to around 1000 health. Starax works is that it stacks based on how many enemies that you attack. It's based on if you attack or get attacked, I believe. So you also can restore health from this item. Black Cleaver is also good because it's similar to Divine Sundering, except you do not get the Sheen damage and you do not get the healing. However, you do get movement speed. This used to be Gnar's best item before the item rework, but it is still very good on him. So we are very quickly going to go over the rest of the items. Gnar can mainly build 4 mythic items: Divine Sunderer, which is very good against tanky or bruiser opponents; Trinity Force, which is good against squishier targets. I would build Trinity against squishier top laners or if the other team doesn't have any tanks or bruisers. Gore Drinker is very situational. Divine gives more healing overall, so this needs to be built whenever you feel like you need to use it more effectively. If you have more team fights, then Gore Drinker may be better, but I just feel like Divine is better, but this is all based on preference. Lastly, Stridebreaker. This item is not as good as it used to be since the removal of its dash, but it is still decent, and I would mainly build this against ranged top laners and against teams that you need to be very mobile against. Next up is armor options. The best armor items on Gnar are Randuin's Omen, Thornmail, Guardian's Angel, and Deadman's Plate. For Randuin's Omen, you want to build this item whenever there's a lot of crit dealers on the enemy team. This item is very good on Gnar because of the cost efficiency and all the tank stats you get, as well as the slow you get on the item. The second best armor item on Gnar is Thornmail, and his best Grievous Wounds item. Build this whenever you need healing reduction. Next is Guardian Angel. This is a very great mid to late game item and can be very clutch for late game fights. Build it whenever you feel like you need to carry late game team fights and where you think you'll get bursted down a lot. Lastly is Deadman's Plate. Deadman's Plate has not been as good as it was in the beginning of Season 11. I would only build this item whenever you need to be mobile. Other than that, avoid building this item. If you have to build this item, only do it against all attack damage teams. Build these first 3 AD items first. Next is MR items. There's not many good MR items on Gnar, but the best MR item on Gnar is Wit's End. You get attack speed, attack damage, magic resist, and extra on-hit magic damage, as well as movement speed. Always build this over the other MR items as it gives better stats and a lot of damage for Gnar. The second MR item that I like on Gnar is Spirit Visage. This is really good combined with Divine and Starax Gauge because of the healing and shielding that it increases on you. Lastly, Force of Nature. This item recently got buffed and is getting buffed again, I believe. You get a lot of health, magic resist, and you stack reduced magic damage and increased movement speed while in battle. Lastly, situational items. Gargoyle Stoneplate is a good late to mid game item for extra shields. Anathema's Chains. This item is very good against hyper carries. If there's a really fed mid laner or ADC on the enemy team, I would recommend building this. Chempunk Chainsword. Gnar rarely builds this, but if the team is all ability power, then I would build this over Thornmail. Serpent's Fang has gotten nerfed, so we do not build this as much, but if there's a lot of shielding on the enemy team, I would recommend you build this if you do not have a teammate that can build this item. Death Stance is really good against all attack damage teams. Silvermere is not as good as it used to be. With buffs to Force of Nature and Wit's End, this item is only good whenever there's high CC teams. Maul of Malmortius. This item is pretty useless on Gnar now because of Starok's Gauge. However, the only time I would build it is against all ability power teams, as it does give a little extra value over Starok's Gauge. Only in that situation though. Runon's Hurricane. Now you may be surprised about this, but during the late game situations when all of your inhibitors are down, or even 2 of your inhibitors are down and you have no wave clear, build this item. It can save the game if you have no wave clear on your team. Immortal Shield Bow. This item I believe is getting nerfed, but if you combine this with PTA, this can be a very great snowballing mythic item. Lastly, Swifties. If you're having trouble in matchups that you cannot kite as properly as you used to. For example, I usually build this against Nasus if I do not feel confident. Next, we are moving on to runes. The best rune on Gnar, in my opinion right now, is Grasp of the Undying. Grasp of the Undying combined with Divine and Trinity gives you a ton of damage and sustain. Most Gnar players take this. However, if your matchup isn't great, you might want to take Fleet Footwork. Fleet Footwork is a really great rune for matchups that you do not poke a lot in. It is also very great late game and can really help you kite out and kill your opponents. Next is Conqueror. Conqueror is very situational on Gnar. If you take this rune into many tanks on the enemy team, this will be a monster in the late game. You will heal for so much and the tanks will not be able to take you down. Next is Press the Attack. I only use this rune whenever you know you can get a snowball lead. If your team is mostly ability power champions and you're the only AD champion, I would combine this with Immortal Shield Bow and then build tanky afterwards. Next is Hail of Blades. Hail of Blades is actually sleeper OP on Gnar. The insane burst of attack speed combined with Divine or Trinity can actually give you tons of damage. I would go this rune against champions that you have tons of trouble going all in with. Some examples could be Fiora, Irelia, and Camille. Lastly is Phase Rush. Phase Rush is good against champions that you are not confident in kiting against. This can include Nasus or any melee champ that you are having troubles with. Now I will be talking about Gnar's abilities. Gnar's abilities are very simple. Gnar's Q is a boomerang, which you can throw forward and hit enemies in its path. Another unique thing about Gnar's boomerang is that you can throw it backwards, leading to surprise kills whenever enemies are trying to back. Gnar's W, Hyper. Every single 3 attacks that you hit on an enemy champion will give you extra movement speed and damage, allowing you to kite and get away from dangerous situations. Gnar's E is very simple, Hop. Whenever you use it, you can jump on an enemy and it can be used to get out of very stressful situations. You can also use it to engage and take risks that can actually give you very big rewards. In Mega Gnar, you have a Q, which is similar to Olaf. Whenever you throw it, you can pick it up, which reduces its cooldown. Gnar's W, whenever you land it, stuns for a couple seconds. Gnar's E is similar to Hop, except you can only double bounce whenever you're transferring to Mega Gnar. With Gnar's Mega Gnar combo, you can animation cancel with his E. You can animation cancel with your W and R. Gnar's R is the best ability for team fights in his kit. Using this is best against the wall, as it does the most damage. Now I want to talk about some combos in Mini and Mega Gnar. The basic combos of Mini Gnar is to auto EQ. This will give you a hyper proc, which will give you tons of damage to start off a fight. That is basically the only combo in Mini Gnar, but one unique trick in Mini Gnar is that if you're close to them and you E, you can actually E backwards, which will help you escape sometimes. In Mega Gnar, there are 2 combos. you can animation cancel and go in and then combo that way, or combo normally. First we'll animation cancel combo. So if you go in, you can press R, auto, W, auto, Q, auto. This will give you tons of damage, especially locking down targets, especially in 1v1 situations. The second combo is pretty simple. It is without the animation cancel. You could be in a bush in Gnar while someone's walking up the river. If that happens, you can go in, ult, and do the same exact combo we just talked about. If you do not have ult, you can simply do this combo starting with W. Those are the basic combos in Gnar. Lastly, I want to talk about macro for the beginning, middle, and end of the game. Top lane macro is basic, especially with the new teleport changes. Since with the teleport changes, you can only teleport to towers for the first 14 minutes of the game, and the average game right now is 25 to 30 minutes long, so that's half of the game basically. Early game macro, all you want to do is help your jungler basically. Can't really TP as effectively anymore, so we're focused on our lane and the jungle. In lane, it is best to place your wards in this bush and in this bush. I like to place my ward in this bush whenever I'm aggressive, and if I have an extra ward, I like to place a ward in this bush. If I'm on the other side of the map, I do vice versa. The thing that most top players don't think about is that enemies can push the wave to the tower and then their junglers can hide in these bushes. Respect the enemy jungler at all times if they're not showing on the map that they could be in these bushes, so just play it safe. One of the worst things that can happen to Gnar is if he gets stunned and then the jungler is there in the bush. You will automatically die with no chance of survival. Early game, if you need to fight for scuttle early, try to get prio. If you're going against a champion like Irelia where you cannot get prio, try to stay under your tower and freeze the wave toward your area of the tower. Ask for ganks, but if your jungler cannot gank, just farm with your boomerang and hope for the best. In bad matchups like that, you just have to hope your team does good and that your jungler makes plays on the other side of the map. Try your best to survive in those situations. Tracking the enemy jungler is one of the most important things in the early game. I would say it's only worth to go for dragons after the first or second dragon has been taken. This is where your teleport can become unleashed and you can teleport anywhere now. In the mid game, you also may have a lead and you can snowball with Rift Herald. You can take Rift Herald and then extend your lead in the top, mid, or bot lane. This is where you can also start roaming. Let's say you're dominating top lane and you push the wave under their tower. You can then go get vision on the enemy side's jungle or mess with the enemy mid laner. You can also help go take the second or third dragon by doing this. In the mid game, you can also switch lanes and then start to go bot lane when Baron is up. Go on the opposite side of the map, which the most important objective is up. The most important objectives are Dragon, Baron, and Elder Dragon. If Baron is up and you have teleport, try to stay on the bot side of the map. Make sure your team has good vision. Whenever you are side laning, make sure to have at least a little bit of vision so you stay a little bit protected. If you do not see the enemy team on the map, do not be afraid to play it safe and stay back. It is better to be safe than sorry. Late game macro. If you do not have teleport, then I recommend you stay close to your team, but if you feel like you can go catch a wave in the top or bot lane, then go for it. Just remember that you always need to be close to your team just in case a fight breaks out or someone gets picked off. An important thing when side laning is to not get picked off, so try your hardest to play it safe whenever you can. Macro with Baron. So with Baron, there are a couple things that you can do. One of the best things that you can do is pressure a side lane, especially if you have teleport to go to a fight if one breaks out. If you cannot split push anymore, it would be great to meet up with your team and then take major objectives. You may want to push for the Nexus or go to the next major objective like Elder. One of the things I like to do is have most of your team in the mid to top lane while you are in the bot lane and then pushing, and then having teleport ready for a very great flank. Flanks can really win you team fights because your ult will do so much for your team, especially if you flank them really good. And after that, you can probably end the game with Baron. That is it for macro. That is it for this Gnar guide. I will be making an updated Gnar guide after I'm finished with Unranked to Diamond sometime during the season. Unranked to Diamond will be starting sometime between this week and next week. I cannot wait to start and I cannot wait to get Diamond for you guys. If there are any questions at all, please ask. I want to answer all of your questions. Thank you guys so much for watching this Gnar guide video. See you in the video next week, and I'll love you guys forever.